In the middle of the old forest of the northwest, where the fog covers the way, there is a field where no one dares to stay overnight. People say, if someone hears their name being called from the fog and answers, then they will not be able to return. The story below has been passed down by the villagers for decades, about a fateful night and a call from the underworld. Do you dare to listen to the end? Let's follow this story to the end. You will learn a lot when you go out alone. Once upon a time, in a small Hmong village deep in the northwest, there were two orphan sisters named Shu and Du. After their parents died early in a landslide, the two sisters could only rely on each other to survive. Every day, they carried rice, planted corn, picked medicinal leaves, and worked on the steep hillsides. Although hard, their life was peaceful until one fateful night. That day was a July afternoon. The rain had been persistent in the jungle since early morning. The rain made the ground slippery, making the road back to the village dangerous. The field was far away, so the two sisters decided to set up a temporary tent made of old canvas on the field to sleep overnight, waiting for the sky to clear up before returning. Before leaving, the old neighbor hoarsely instructed, on that field, long ago, there was a woman who died unjustly because she was accused of being a forest ghost. At night, if you hear someone calling your name, don't answer, don't come out. Do you hear me, child? Shu just smiled faintly, thinking that it was a folktale to scare children. Auntie seemed scared, but still silently followed her. That night, it did not rain, but the fog was as thick as smoke, covering the entire field. The fire in the tent burned dimly, providing just enough light to see each other's faces in the darkness. The wife fell asleep early from exhaustion, but Chu was still awake. The wind whistled through the torn tent walls, carrying with it something cold and uneasy. Suddenly in the silence, a whispering voice, drawn out like a snake, echoed from outside the tent.
C-Chu, come out here and play with me.
Ko was startled. She sat up and looked at Du. Her sister was still sleeping soundly, showing no sign of having called. Her heart pounding, Chu tiptoed to the tent door and gently pulled the cloth to look out. Outside, the moonlight was dimly shining through the thick fog. In the middle of the field, a woman with long hair covering her face, wearing faded Hmong dress, was standing silently. In her hand was a black chicken that was bleeding, drops of blood falling onto the cold ground. The shadow did not move, but it seemed to be looking straight at Chu. Too scared to rush back to bed, she shivered. Then a second voice rang out, not from the forest, but straight in Ku's head.
You, follow me.
Chu screamed in panic, but her throat felt choked, unable to make a sound. She turned her head to wake Du, but Auntie was already sitting up, her back straight. Her sister's face was as white as a shroud, her eyes wide open, the whites of them rolled back. Auntie's head slowly turned 180 degrees, making a cracking sound like her neck was broken. Her mouth opened slightly, but the voice that came out was not that of a living person.
Follow me. Come on.
The fire went out. The wind blew in as if someone was pulling it hard. Everything was plunged into darkness. A loud pop sounded like a strong blow to the tent wall. Before Chu could regain her senses, two cold hands, like ice, had tightened their grip on her neck. She struggled, but her body felt paralyzed. In the remaining dim light, she saw clearly. It was Du or something that had the form of her sister, climbing on top of her. Eyes wide open, two hands squeezing her neck tighter and tighter. Auntie's mouth opened. Blood started to flow from the corners of her mouth down to her chin. Her hair was flying wildly even though there was no wind. The strong fishy smell from the black chicken seemed to permeate the small hut. Dee's voice echoed as if from underground. distorted and mixed with many overlapping sounds, as if dozens of souls were whispering in the same body.
Come with me. Come with me.
Shu tried to scream, but only made broken, choking sounds. Her hands waved wildly, trying to push Du away. Her nails scratched her sister's skin, tearing away at the flesh, but Du did not react, continuing to squeeze. CH's eyes began to blur. The air in her lungs was gone. The world was spinning as if it was pulling her into an abyss. Then bang, like someone hit her hard on the head. Everything went black. When Shu regained consciousness a little, or rather, the last feeling before she passed out completely, she only found herself being dragged out of the tent, across the cold, damp ground. Above was a white cottony mist, obscuring her vision. In the field, something was waiting. A woman's figure, her long hair touching the ground, stood with her back turned, still holding a black chicken. The chicken had no head. The figure slowly turned around, its face cracked and gray like a half-opened paper mask, its eye sockets bottomless black. And then, Shu no longer felt anything. At that moment, Du collapsed, unconscious beside her, still breathing but her body convulsing slightly, as if she had just experienced a terrible sleepwalking. The next morning, the villagers went to the fields to look for the two sisters, and found them lying unconscious next to each other. The aunt woke up first, her face pale, her eyes blank, her mouth mumbled, unable to say a word. As for Chu, she never woke up again. On her neck was a long, dark red strangulation mark, clearly visible, as if she had been bound with wild thorns. All around the tent were black chicken feathers scattered on the ground. From that day on, no one dared to sleep on the fields again. People built small shrines, planted mugwort branches, and hung silver bells to ward off evil spirits. But sometimes, on foggy nights, when the wind whistles through the corn rows, the old people in the village whisper to each other. Listen, the call from the field. Do not answer. Absolutely, do not answer. If you hear someone calling at night. After listening to this story, do you still want to sleep alone in the fields? Leave a comment to let me know. Now, I'll see you again in the next stories.